Welcome to Not Like This.
Not like this.
From professional wrestling, horror films, and everything in between. Strap in. And now your hosts, Dale Zawada and Jim Snedeker Jr.
Welcome to Not Like This. I'm Dale Zawada with Jim Snedeker Jr. A little afternoon delight once again. I like the afternoon ones.
They could be, they can be really nice, but I'm sick, so.
Yeah. I mean, it's not for the best reason, but for me, I'm fresh. I've got some energy because then we'll do it like 8 p.m. and I'm like, oh, Jesus, I'm old and I don't have energy. Yeah, give me a drink.
Yeah, 8 is a little late. That was traditionally, I remember when that didn't used to feel so bad. We used to do it at 8 historically for like most of the show.
Yeah.
And now,
90% of the time.
Now 8 is just like, oh man, go to bed right when it's over.
Mm-hmm. Got your nightcap on. Oh, little afternoon soda.
Yeah, it's just a pop. I don't want to be drinking with all this Tylenol pumping through me. That's too much for my liver to work.
I had a lady at work. She said, because we have theater style seating where I work when we sell the furniture. And it's like, oh, it's like,
hold on. What does that mean? You sell furniture like in the round? What is?
Well, because I mean, we sell.
You got to buy tickets to watch people sell furniture.
So we sell theater style seating with the cup holders and everything. And this lady was like, okay. it's like I'm at the show. And I was like, you Midwestern bitch. I popped for it. And I was like, that's such a Midwestern thing. And we had a good laugh. And then they didn't buy it. So get out.
You're like, when I was in California, when I was in Hollywood, no one calls at the show. That's very Midwestern of you. Oh, you're not going to buy it? Get out of my store.
We're not friends anymore. All those good times are for naught. Just like all the good times that you had at Guitar Center were for naught because they filed for bankruptcy. They going bye-bye.
Yeah, that has been something that. Okay, if you're not a musician or you don't, you haven't been following this they've been talking about I've been reading articles and stuff saying that Guitar Center is about to file for bankruptcy. Their credit rating just kept getting lower and lower. They were like, oh, they're triple-D- now. And then people would say, yeah, but how many times? They've been saying this for 10 years that they're going to file for bankruptcy, but they actually did. So I wonder what's going to happen. They I guess, from what I can gather from all the stories I've heard, is they're like, they sort of expanded too fast and they took on way too much debt. And this really has not, I would assume most people understandably would say this is probably COVID related somewhat, but it really isn't. Musical instrument sales are up like crazy because of COVID, because everyone, people are stuck at home. They're like, I'll learn the guitar. So sales are actually up because of COVID. This has just been, bad business has been going on there for 10, 15 years, and they just had way too much debt.
How embarrassing for the leadership there.
Yeah.
It's like, I was the president of Guitar Center. Oh, that place that doesn't exist anymore. Yeah, I didn't do a great job. I probably could have done a little bit better.
Yeah, it is very ubiquitous now, too. Like, everyone knows Guitar Center, and people that do podcasts or video stuff or pro sound, like that's basically the only place you have to go to get stuff.
What are the other ones?
Right.
What was it called? Go Sound? No Sound?
No, pro sound. Like if you're buying like audio, like speakers and microphones and like Guitar Center was the go-to. And it used to be like 20 years ago, you only went to Guitar Center if you were a musician, basically. And like most people hadn't heard of Guitar Center. Just wasn't like a common. You didn't go there for everything. Like, I'm making a student film. I have to go to the Guitar Center to get a audio recorder. There would be like some local sound, retail store or something. But they sort of they Walmarted everything, took everything over, and
is that a bad thing? I think that's a good thing. I think limiting yourself to guitars is probably a bit of a hard thing to do.
I see. No, they always sold
like,
all
yeah,
that
we'll
stuff.
sell some bullshit. We'll get some drums. That's where I got my cajon. No,
they've always sold everything. But what I was saying is, back in the day, you used to have a lot of options where you could go to buy these things.
And lost him. There he's back.
You lost me?
Just for a second.
Okay.
It was scary.
What I was saying is, back in the day, you used to have other places to go to buy stuff. Like if I need an audio recorder for this film project, there'd be a couple different places to go, and then Guitar Center sort of ate up everything. But they'd always sold all those products that you're talking about. They just weren't the only game in town, and they sort of Walmarted the industry.
That's good for them. How do you fuck that up?
Because they did it all on debt. They did it all on credit.
Jesus, we weren't the only game in town, and then we hustled and became the only game in town, and we fucked it up. Now, there's no games in town.
It was a very Trumpian strategy of just like,
Jesus.
Just like, oh, well, just move this debt here and take on more debt, and we'll expand with this debt, and one day we'll turn a profit.
Does a Walmart or Amazon just buy them now and just keep the Guitar Center, brought to you by Walmart?
That's a good question. I don't know what they do, but I know we all been thirsting for these liquidation sales for a long time. But we might not even get them.
Hustle.
We might not even get them. They might. Oh yeah, we filed for bankruptcy. Like Kmart filed for bankruptcy in like 2000 or 2001, and then they stayed in business for like another 12 years or something. So
I don't understand business.
Yeah, neither
does Guitar Center.
They just go, "Oh, we're bankrupt. We can't make any money," and then they have to pay like a bunch of their money goes toward paying back the bankruptcy, because corporate bankruptcy is different than personal bankruptcy. Like personal bankruptcy is pretty straightforward. Chapter 7 is like, I have a bunch of credit cards and I need a fresh start. And they go, well, did you try this? Did you try that? Yeah. Okay. Well, you tried. We'll wipe the slate clean. You're in a penalty box for a few years, but you don't owe this credit card debt anymore. And then chapter 13 is like, I've got a house and I want to lose the house. So you like negotiate this repayment plan, but at a very low, rate. And then in a few, 7 years or something, you have it paid off, and then you don't owe that crazy amount that you owed before. But with corporate bankruptcy, I have no idea how it works, because I'm like, how does Kmart say we don't have any money left, therefore we don't have to pay these pension funds, but we're still open and we're still making money, but we don't have any money? Huh? I don't know.
America.
Chapter 98, I don't know. Yeah, America, Trump Steaks, Trump University, Kmart, Guitar Center. We're bringing them all back.
Trump Steaks. Now I want to go down a YouTube rabbit hole. There's got to be like, I've got these. Hey, it's your boy. I got these Trump Steaks, and we're gonna eat them like from years ago before president.
Right.
That's got to be hilarious. Said, I don't know why it's so brown, and it smells kind of bad. But here we go.
Yeah, he just made a bunch of money just licensing his name to shit in the 90s. Trump Tower.
Worked for George Foreman.
Yeah, he really made a ton of money off that grill.
Worked for old George.
I forgot, man. I swear there's a story there where somebody else, they brought the grill to someone else first, and they're like, nah. And George Foreman said, yep, and then made like hundreds of millions of dollars. But it was some other celebrity that turned down the George Foreman grill, and I can't remember who it was.
The OJ grill.
Oh, no. Oh, man.
Well, it might have been. It was probably around that time, like right before he did the bad things. He was probably a hot name.
Yeah, I want to say I'm relatively sure it wasn't George. It wasn't it wasn't OJ. But I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out for sure.
Okay. So last week I was hyping up Undertaker on Hot Ones. because I was just curious to see if he would take it like a little bit. He did all right. It was a Zoom call one.
I saw that.
Of course, it was. I thought it was actually pretty decent for having to do it that way. But it was neat. It was neat. We're seeing a lot of old Mark Calloway out of character. Survivor Series was last night. It was his 30th anniversary from his debut, and it was like his send off sort of thing. So he's making the rounds, and Hot Ones was one of them. But he did okay. He was taking some of the sauces to task though, which is hilarious. He's just like, it's hot, but it also tastes like shit. And I was like, yeah, that's shit. Like the last dab, if you've ever watched Hot Ones.
Yeah, that's like the super hot last one they do, right?
It also tastes like dog shit. And that's why.
Someone else was on there saying that. I think it was Gordon Ramsay was like, this doesn't even taste good.
He'd know.
That's
There's some in the middle where like, oh, that's really hot and that tastes super good. And I'm always like trying to make a mental note as if I'm ever going to buy any of these hot sauces.
Right. Yeah, I learned the best way to make eggs on the Gordon Ramsay Hot Ones.
Oh, that's right. They did a little cooking thing on the front.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, you take it off the heat for a while and put it back on and take it off and put it back on. Yeah.
Have you utilized that?
Oh, yeah. And they turn out perfect every time. It's amazing. Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan claims he's a wrestler, so take it with a grain of salt. But Hulk Hogan claims they came to him to do the George Foreman grill, and he was like, nah.
Yeah, I was doing practice with Metallica at the time.
Yeah.
And I got this phone call, brother, about this grill, and I said, shove it, dude. Stick it.
Yeah, George called me, brother, and said they want a world champion, heavyweight world champion. And I thought of you right away, not me. Thought of you. It's a true world heavyweight champion, and maybe you'd want to do it. And if you don't, then I'll do it.
And then I wrote Enter Sandman.
Yeah. And then I defeated Al Qaeda, brother.
Hogan. I was watching.
I knew it was something dubious too when I was trying to remember it. Like I remembered the person claiming it and thinking, I don't know. And now it's Hulk Hogan.
Of course it was. I was watching that Key and Peele sketch with Gremlins 2, where like the script doctor is in there, just like, and we'll have a vegetable gremlin. I love it. It's in the movie. And anytime somebody would pitch something, like just pitch something crazy, and she'd be like, yep, that's in there. A bat gremlin. Amazing. And he's like, what about you, fatty? And he's like, the movie will have Hulk Hogan. And he's like, you are a raging psychopath. Hulk Hogan, world heavyweight champion, professional wrestler turned actor. I love it. It's in the movie. How about this, bitch? We got the Hulkster. I love that sketch so much.
Oh man, I've never seen that one.
Oh really?
Never
Holy
seen
shit!
it.
Yeah.
No.
Oh yeah, get that. It's a great 4.5 minutes for you.
I feel like there was a good Lethal Weapon one. They had a good Lethal Weapon sketch.
Really? Key and Peele?
I think so. Yeah.
All right, it's a fun little rabbit hole to go down to. Add that to the list. Trump steaks. Okay. I'm going to have a busy Monday.
Trump steaks.
Trump steaks. Oh, Donald. You blow hard.
He's going to go away pretty soon. That'll be nice.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. I just want to see where he goes.
Got all these surprise challenges, though, in all these states, all the challenges.
So many hurdles. It's a good thing he's in peak physical and mental state to handle everything that's going to be coming his way. Speaking of not COVID, Hulk Hogan. I thought I saw this little fun fact and it blew my wig backwards. Let me know if you knew this, because this was a new one for me. Austin 316.
Oh boy.
And Hulk Hogan joining the NWO happened within 2 weeks of each other.
I didn't know that.
My brain just can't handle that. The Austin 316 thing just seems like so much earlier.
That would make sense because, well, it was King of the Ring, right? And that's usually in July.
June.
End of June?
Right, yeah, right in there. Yeah, right in that area.
So in the summer, I just remember summertime because I remember not being in school when it would happen. That leaves like 2 months. So, yeah, so that makes sense. And then Bash at the Beach is what, July, August?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So
that's crazy.
Yeah. That's a crazy one. And I got this off Reddit, so I'm going to give the credit to user Steve Borden, which is Sting's name. Here's another one.
It's actually Sting on Reddit. Like, hey guys, did you know this? I know somebody in the business.
It's just Sting facts after that.
His name's Steve.
But the finger poke of doom from WCW happened the same night as Mankind winning the WWF title. That'll put butts in seats.
Yeah, what was that?
Remember that?
That was late 98 or very early 99.
I just the fucking audacity for Bischoff to have Tony Schiavone say, "Yeah, fucking give him the business. That'll put butts in the seats." Say that, and he did. And meanwhile, on your show, you're going to do the finger poke of doom, and you're taking shots at the other company. I hate Eric Bischoff.
The finger poke of doom, just on the surface, doesn't bother me because it is a very heel NWO shitty thing to do.
Oh yeah.
But to tell people, hey,
as a purist,
hey, Raw's taped. You want to know how I know Mankind's going to win the title? I turned the channel. I was like, oh, really? Psst. Let's watch Raw for the first time in 3 months, Jim. They've been cucking us. They've been cucking us down with this Mankind winning the title thing, and because he beat The Rock, right? The Rock was the corporate champion.
Yep.
Yeah.
Austin came out.
Everyone was sick of that shit. Yeah, that was 98, wasn't it? Or was that 99?
One of them.
One of them.
It's definitely one of them.
Well, because it was 99 when Austin beat The Rock at WrestleMania 15. So that would make sense. So The Rock probably dropped it and got it right back or something.
Yeah, that was just kind of the name of the game during that era for both companies. Some hot shotting. So this one's not as fun of a fact, but Hogan's debut on TNA and Bret Hart making a return to WWE after 12 years happened on the same night. The Monday Night Wars. Part 2.
Sort of. No, which one had a bigger rating? You had to be Raw, right? But no matter what.
I think Raw's commercials had a higher rating.
It could have been Hogan and the Ghost of Macho Man and Ric Flair all debut on TNA, and then there's just a Raw.
It's a pre-taped Raw clip show. Here you go. It's still going to win.
Yeah, wrestling definitely had its sort of golden age in the 50s when TV came out, and then the 80s took off. But those Monday Night Wars, it hit another level that I think nobody in the wrestling business thought it could hit. And then it's just sort of been downhill since then. You know, gradually at times, and then sharply, and then. But yeah, what do you think it's a TV thing? You think it's because like less people in general watch TV?
That it's not cool?
Yeah, that there's just not the potential for it to come back. Or do you think
I just think it's not cool. I think Stone Cold was super cool. The NWO was cool. Name me a couple cool wrestlers. I can name you some great fucking wrestlers, best in the world wrestlers, but I can't name a lot of cool. Did you see what this guy did?
So would you
even John Moxley, Dean Ambrose in AEW? He's their super cool guy, and I'm like, he's kind of fucking lame. Like, I'm not gonna give him too much grief, but.
So would you say the last time wrestling was like pop culturally cool was like the end of CM Punk and sort of Daniel Bryan? Yeah.
Because there's nothing must see. Like NWO, I have to see what craziness is gonna monster trucks and darting guys into trailers and running people off the road in cars and spray painting cars and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And on the other channel, he's beating up his boss. And there's a beer truck. Like, what the fuck? And then you had your CM Punk thing, and that was also kind of must see. What's this guy? Yes, it's all scripted. We all know what wrestling is, but he gets real loose with the mouth. What's that guy gonna say? What's he gonna do? Is he gonna go off script a little bit? That became sort of must see.
And people knew who he was.
Cool.
Like people and other people that, like I remember listening to Rogan, and people on there that don't watch wrestling would talk about CM Punk, and they all knew who he was. This is like right when he signed, but before he fought, and they all knew who that person was. And I don't think who would get signed now where you'd be like, we're normal, like non-wrestling fans would be like, oh yeah, I know who that, I've heard of that person. Like, I don't think anyone outside of wrestling fans know who Kenny Omega is, right?
No.
Or or 12 people that watch Street Fighter.
I mean, the gaming industry. But yeah, I mean, they just get signed out of the womb now. So there's not a lot of like build up and hype, and then they signed with this company. It's like, no, they start getting good at a young age, and they just get snapped up, and you just live in developmental now. The only time it kind of happens is if somebody just comes from a different company, or especially overseas, and that gets a little hype and excitement. Otherwise, no. And because WWE is this big mega company, they can't take a lot of risks. And AEW tries to take some risks. You know, they try to do some cool shit, and you know, if they can get some big names and maybe do some things. Like on this last show, Tony Khan, the owner, the Money Mark owner, he's tweeting, "This is a game-changing episode of Dynamite tonight. You are not going to want to miss this. The wrestling industry will never be the same after this." And it's like, we've got a big name. We've got something big tonight. And I was excited. I was like, what are they up to? Like, who did he throw money at? What's going on? And people were like, I think he might have got Brock, because Brock's like not really under contract. His whole thing's kind of weird. But you could sign him essentially. And it's like, he might throw the money at him. Fuck it. And Brock isn't gonna, like, he doesn't care.
No, I'm loyal to WWE. Come on.
I was like, that would be amazing. No, this game-changing person, it looks like it's going to be Shaquille O'Neal.
What?
To do something.
Play-by-play or something?
At some point.
The
I
three-man
don't know. No, I think he's just going to fight Cody or something.
These guys are wrestling. They're very tough. Look at them. Yeah. And
like, Shaq's been on WWE like several times. Like, this isn't a big get. That's just a Tuesday for
he's a mark.
New York.
He's a mark. Shaq is. He likes wrestling.
Sure,
you know?
Yeah, he loves it. He can bring his kids for free. All that stuff.
That's disappointing, because you burn some bridges there. You know, you can't now. He can't pull that again. You really can't miss this Dynamite, guys. I don't tweet like this often, but this is going to change the industry. And you're like, oh yeah, I remember last time he said that. It was just like, Shaq is there.
Yeah, who's it going to be this time?
So you
Adam
can't really
Pac-Man Jones.
Yeah, you can't really do that again. You know, not when you fuck it up like that.
I hope he does continue to do it, and it becomes a Boy Who Cried Wolf. And then the fourth or fifth time, he's like, nah, seriously, though, this one's going to be great. And we're like, yeah, whatever, Tony. And then it's just Shane McMahon. It's like, holy shit.
CM Punk.
Holy cow. Yeah.
Is he still on the Fox show?
I don't think there is a Fox show.
No. No?
I think they can that.
Did they already?
Yeah, already.
What was it, like 6 months or 8 months or something?
7 months too long. Wrestling does not need a legitimate
post-game show.
show.
The best damn wrestling post-game show, period.
Like WWE Network, that's how you do it. After Raw or Talking Smack, where it's just a little bullshit, extra promo. You get some guys after their matches, kind of, and it's real loosey-goosey. It's very fun. And that's why it worked. And it's the network, so you can do whatever you want with whoever you want. But with the Fox one, and it's just more legitimate and stupid. And
Who else was on there? Paige or somebody? Wasn't there like
Paige was on there for a minute? Booker T, I want to say, and Renee Young, who's pregnant.
Is that Mae Young's great granddaughter?
That's right. Yeah, she's a third generation sports entertainer, and she's going to give birth to.
I was kidding, but was I
John
right?
Moxley's hand. No,
I was wrong.
She's just some Canadian.
She's gonna give birth to John Moxley's hand. I forgot all about that. That was like the funniest, stupidest shit that they did in that era.
Yeah. That's another one that people got hot about, like the finger poke of doom and the purity of the sport. Like, she gave birth to a hand. It's like, would you want her to give birth to a baby? Yeah, it's still
she's
stupid.
90 years old. What did that tie in with? Like, who was all part of that angle? Was that like a Al Snow thing?
D'Lo was in there. I think Draws, I want to say, was somewhat around. I don't know. Mark Henry.
Mark Henry, yeah, that's right.
That's what it was. Sexual chocolate.
Mae Young. Was the Fabulous Moolah involved in that as well?
Of course, probably, yeah.
They're like tied at the hip.
She was just in the other room trying to shake down some women's wrestler. Like, you're going to give me half of that purse.
Right, or I'm going to stab you after the show.
I'm as carny as it gets. That's why Vince loves me.
They're almost not carny enough anymore. Like, they're still very carny when it comes to certain things, but they're too, like, we're a giant, classy entertainment industry. Guys, come on. Mm-hmm. You need a little carny. You need some guys to just be like, hey, what if she gives birth to a hand?
I love it. It's in the movie. Yeah. That's what you need. Just say yes to just yes and all the way through.
When was the last time you saw someone like become a character on their own, like a Steve Austin or a Rock? Like, nobody was writing that shit. Like, here, Dwayne, I wrote this character for you. It's called The Rock, and you're going to be very clever and funny. You know, that just sort of happened. I don't. Every time I see clips or whatever, I'm like, these people are just like either people I already know, but if they're new people I've never heard of, they're just like generic wrestler number 4. Like, I got big muscles.
Probably a lot of the comedy guys, like a Santino Marella. Like, I don't think anybody was writing his bits except for him.
Okay, and that was what,
Cabana,
like 2006.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been a minute.
You know, otherwise it's just micromanaged. So here's another little fun fact. Goldberg's WCW debut happened on the same night as when Stone Cold stunned Vince for the first time.
Huh. Sometime in 97.
One of them.
It was definitely 97. I'm pretty sure I watched his debut on Nitro. I think they were they were keeping his record, like, it was pretty accurate for a while, and then they just got stupid with it. Like, they were counting. They
started adding house shows and stuff.
Right, exactly. But they were counting shit. And I remember seeing him debut and just thinking, like, well, like, this will be like Glacier. This will be like some side thing they're trying to push that no one's going to be into because the NWO is so cool.
I don't even remember him. Like, he didn't have that aura. Mm-mm. He was just like this big jack guy doing a real shit short match, and he got the dub.
Yeah, I just remember, like, what is this? Them, like, he's bald, he's got black trunks, he's got a goatee, he's sort of tough, but he's not talking at all. You know, he looks super fucking strong. And I could just tell, like, this is some guy that we're supposed to think is he's just an athlete. He's just out here trying to win these matches, and they're gonna try and push him really hard, and no one's gonna be into it. But then people got into it.
He had that Stone Cold look. He would growl. He'd go. Nah.
I mean, people got really into it. Like, there was a period of time where he was super popular. And then, you know, people got sick of the streak.
So staying in that sort of era, this Goldberg shit, God, they fucked everything up right around the same time. We need to take a look at this month of WCW, because I think we could pinpoint the month of when they killed their company.
Signed Bret Hart, had him referee.
It's probably right in there too, but Goldberg losing the streak, to the taser, Scott Hall, all that shit, and the finger poke of doom were only a week apart.
That's what I was going to say. That was like a week apart.
This is a lot of garbage.
Right, because Scott Hall...
such a small amount of time.
Scott Hall stunned him, and Nash beat him to end the streak. And then he just laid down for Hogan. And I was actually thought... So, historically, people look back at the finger poke of doom and think, oh, this is stupid. But I remember thinking, like, oh, maybe this will freshen things up, because we had 2 NWOs, and one was a babyface NWO, and... like, it was just it was stale, and it was dumb, and the streak was going on too long. So then when Nash did the finger poke of doom thing, I'm like, oh, they fucked everyone over. They tricked us. Like, maybe shit'll get fun again. And it didn't.
So, and that's another thing. Like, people that got upset about the finger poke of doom, like, they're the biggest marks of them all. Because they weren't, like, exposing the business. They were a group of bad guys doing bad guy shit, having a laugh, giving the title to his buddy. Like, you don't get it?
Yeah.
Like, how do you not get it?
I guess I never was mad at that in any fashion. Like, it never seemed like it. First of all, the business was widely exposed at this point, but it also never felt like them exposing the business. Like you said, it was just a heel thing. They just did heel shit in there to make everybody mad, and everyone got mad. This was not like the David Arquette thing. Like the David Arquette thing, it was like, well, no one would expect him to win. Like, well, yeah, that's really stupid.
Yeah, it's just a little tone deaf decision.
There. And Nash is booking, so he booked himself to beat Goldberg. And now look, I don't know. Yeah, but if you hear his argument for it, he was
he's had a lot of time to eat fucking ravioli and drink wine and come up with some excuses on how it was a really good idea if you truly think about it.
Well, I mean, I've never heard him say it was a good idea, but he's like, we had to do something. Like, people were booing him.
Not that either.
People who were booing Goldberg, the babyface champion, because they were fucking bored.
Then you turn him heel, Kevin.
But he can't do that.
Kevin, it's right there in front of you. He's like, well, but I'm not involved in that. And if we turn him heel, he's going to take my heat.
You said it like fucking Home Alone, Mom. Kevin, turn him heel.
So here's another little grouping of fun facts. Within 2 weeks, in January 2000. So you know this is going to be good.
Oh, God.
Sorry. 2 week span. Bret Hart vacates the WCW title due to multiple concussions. Thanks, Bill. Chris Benoit wins the WCW title and then vacates it the day after.
Yeah.
The Radicals, Benoit, Eddie, Dean, and Saturn, jump ship from WCW to the WWF. Vince Russo is ousted as head of creative at WCW. And the last one here within this 2 week span, Taz debuts at the Royal Rumble and gives Kurt Angle his first defeat.
For one of his 3 matches in the WWF before he just went to being a fat commentator.
It's Taz.
I love the fake It's Taz things on Botchamania. And it'll be like a little Oompa Loompa coming out. Yeah, that was a shit time because as a wrestling fan, things were bad. But as a Bret Hart fan...
things were worse.
No, things were, well, right here. But before this happened... see, my dog's not happy with this either. As a Bret Hart fan, you're like, oh, well, he's the world champion. Like, he's doing some heel stuff that's kind of odd. And he was sort of became one of the main people on Nitro. I'm like, finally, right? You know, it only took everything to go to shit and crumble and fall apart and be unwatchable. And now, you know, Bret Hart's world champ. That's everything is right in my world. And then he gets his fucking head kicked in and is gone. and I didn't think that was career ending. Like this is pre the movie Concussion. This is pre all the CTE shit. And I'm watching ECW. I'm seeing people take fucking chair shots straight to the head with no arms up and all that. And I'm like, oh, he got kicked. Yeah, okay, I could see that. I didn't think like, and he'll never wrestle again. Because I think maybe he did wrestle like 1 or 2 times after that, and he shouldn't have or something. Then he retired. But yeah, that was a terrible time for wrestling.
That's the month. I want to take a deep dive into that. I want to take a deep dive into the NWO chronological order of these members, which we've talked about a little bit before, off camera, microphone,
offline.
That might be a Patreon episode, or if I show up to an episode with no notes, I'm like, we're doing that because I don't have anything. Fuck,
that would be fun because I got that wrong right away.
Yeah, we started talking about like, and then it was this guy, and we were just, oof. So
I was like, what?
You get to see who got in.
I mean, I really wasn't watching yet. Like the NWO blew up into a thing, and then I started watching like late summer of '97, right? So like, I missed like the whole first year of it. I'd heard about it, and I seen these Outsiders shirts, and I'm like, oh, is things getting cool again? We're not just doing Gold Dust and Razor Ramon.
Oh god,
things are getting cool. And all the thing, you know what's weird when we talk about all this shit? All this stuff that feels like it lasted for a long time didn't.
That's why it was impactful. It didn't get stale. It just kind of did its thing. And
I mean, even the bad shit, like, oh, the new generation. What was that, like 2 years? It's like 94 to mid-late 93 to like mid-late 95. And they were sort of done with that shit. And then Hall and Nash go over to WCW. And they're like, oh yeah, the NWO, they had that hot long run. It was like a year and a half where it was really good. And then we got like 98 and like the end of 98 into 99. It was just dog shit.
Yeah. And now it's just all the same. I feel like when I go from AEW to Raw to Impact. Well, I don't go to Impact. It's all kind of the same.
That's still on.
It's almost like the same company, just like a different branch. And like AEW's the cool corporate branch, and Raw's the fucking stick up their butt. We got Mattel. We gotta play it safe for Mattel. And then Impact, they just gave them like some lunch money. They just used petty cash to fund Impact, to do some local shows for charities around the country. These small gymnasiums. That's what they feel like to me.
Yeah, it's very disheartening, and it just might be over. It's sort of like I don't remember if I made this analogy on the show, but there's no reason to think it ever has to come back and be big again. Just like Blockbuster Video. Like there was
it will. It will. Somebody's going to step up. Somebody's going to be too cool to ignore. It's probably going to be in AEW at some point because they're going to take the risk. It's just a matter of who. It's not going to be Kenny Omega. It's going to be somebody newer than that, and it'll be fun because they're definitely going to take their shot. They're going to want their Austin, which is what they're trying to do with Moxley, and I've already talked about it. I've already spoken.
You're already not having it. Go away.
Shave your head. Just shave your head, John.
Grow a goatee. Shave your head. Get jacked. That's the other thing. It's like there's not a lot of big jacked guys anymore. Like there's like some little jacked guys and some like big sort of chubby dudes. But there's no like, you remember in the late 90s, it was routine.
Yeah,
to
there's
see, like,
laws now.
No, there aren't. You just go to your doctor and go, I'm tired. I think my testosterone's
steroids,
low.
Please.
Yeah, that's all they do. You can get that shit legal.
Brian Cage, that's what Brian Cage is doing in AEW. He's a big jack son of a gun. some of the strong guys, they don't have that look. They don't look like Warlord,
right,
or anything.
Yeah, or Barbarian.
But they're hosses. They're probably stronger than those guys easily. They just don't look like cartoon villains from He-Man.
Like, what's Cesaro's name now?
Cesaro.
Is it still? He's still around? They didn't fire him?
I think he makes everybody coffee.
Okay. Like, he doesn't look like a strong guy, but he's super fucking strong.
Yeah.
But, even like guys that weren't top guys were just gigantic, like Test. You just had these guys that were just monsters. Bring me I want the monsters back.
And that's why one of the reasons I like AEW is because they have these guys like a Brian Cage or a Lance Archer, who's just a big guy. And then they'll have an Orange Cassidy or Jungle Boy Jack, and they're smaller, so they look huge in comparison to these smaller guys. Because that was the thing with WWE. It's like they're all just muscles, all of them. And then every now and then there's like Bret Hart.
Yeah, like, oh, look at these little guys out there wrestling. Like Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels they'd look pretty thick out there today, I think.
Probably. He's really going after that bone.
No, he's trying to eat me.
Oh.
He doesn't like that someone else is talking to me.
Oh.
He was fine. He was laying down on the couch sleeping until I started talking to you. And then he's like, hey, who are you talking to? It's not me. You're not talking to me.
Let me get that arm.
Let's get this going.
So apparently they're making a Gremlins 3. I mean, it's been in the works for a while, but, talks. But Chris Columbus, not Christopher Columbus.
Sail the ocean blue.
Chris Columbus says, the creatures will not be CGI. Because that's always the big thing whenever they talk about a Gremlins sequel. It's like, it better be practical.
Yeah, if
Gremlins 3 wants everyone to know.
If Gremlins 3 came out in 2002, it would all just be shitty CGI Gremlins for sure.
Yeah. It'd be like a hybrid, like the Looney Tunes movie or something, and I'd want to slit my wrists.
Who was in that? Jenna Elfman and Brendan Fraser.
Yeah. Who's looking real good these days.
Is he?
2020 Brendan Fraser is a hot piece.
I gotta see this now. Brendan. I don't know how to spell his last name.
It's like Fraser.
Oh,
good Lord.
Good God.
Hey, Father Time. So yeah, like Brendan Fraser's story.
Father Pizza.
Oh, baby. Oh. Yeah, he kind of got I think he suffered an injury, like a back injury, and he couldn't act as much.
He suffered an injury. Okay.
And then he was being sexually harassed by these producers that were always trying to fuck him, and he wasn't having that, so that didn't help his cause.
Yeah, could have fucked me if I'm fat.
And he spoke up with the Me Too movement came out, and who's the Brooklyn 911 guy? Terry Crews. Terry Crews is like, I've been sexually harassed.
Oh yes, I remember that.
And people are like, that's fucked up. Yeah, it happens to guys too. I like that. I like, that we're all speaking up. That's great. And then Brendan Fraser's like, I was also sexually harassed. And they're like, shut up,
they're
fat ass.
Wait, recently or?
Yeah, he's had a rough go, Brendan. And apparently in The Mummy, I have all these facts about Brendan Fraser.
Great, yeah, let's hear them.
In The
we
Mummy,
got time to fill.
In the opening, where we meet him, his character, and he's kind of like this somewhat of a criminal. And he's about to be hanged. He's got the shaggy hair, and it's a movie, so it's a work. He's got the rigging, and they're gonna drop it, and he's gonna hang for a little bit, and then somebody's gonna shoot the thing and free him or whatever. But the rigging did not do a great job, and that was like essentially a legit hanging that we're witnessing, and that fucked him up pretty good as well. Like I said, he suffered some injuries. That's why he just eats the pain away.
He died on the set of The Mummy and has been resurrected.
Yeah. And that in a similar vein, right back to wrestling, because you thought we were going to just move past wrestling. No. Gangrel at one point, I think it's the Ministry of Darkness, when the Undertaker had all his cronies, they were gonna, they were hanging people back then. Big Boss Man.
Yep.
They did something similar to Gangrel, a more simple version, like over the top rope, kind of hanging. We're just gonna dangle you, sort of thing. Also with the rigging that did not work, and you can watch this man almost die on television if you YouTube Gangrel Undertaker hanging. I'm sure you'll find it. And you can see him trying to communicate to the guys that are killing him. Please stop. And they're like, well, of course. I mean, he's selling real good. This guy's one of the best in the business.
He's selling real good.
Look at get this guy an award. But luckily, they stop because the segment has to end, and he just like drops. And he's just like, oh my god, like almost died. Gangrel, just like Brendan Fraser. That's a buddy comedy, right?
Brendan Fraser and there's this picture of him with like his hair's falling out. It looks terrible, Brendan Fraser. I'm so sorry. Hey, remember Airheads?
I do remember Airheads, and I
always
also
forget
remember
that that's a Brendan Fraser joint. I always think of Steve Buscemi and Adam Sandler.
Look at it as an Adam Sandler, where he plays like he's like the mind of a child.
Yeah. That was the first movie I remember seeing him in. That was like pre-Billy Madison, I'm pretty sure. Because he was like the bonehead of the group. He was not like the star of the movie.
Not at all. And Steve Buscemi's playing like this, like hard ass.
Yeah.
Like legit too. Like
it's his idea to like hold the radio station hostage. It's like, we're going to put these fucking guns over here. We're going to fucking kill everybody. Okay. And then we're going to get on the radio.
Like if anybody was going to kill somebody in that movie, it was definitely going to be Steve Buscemi.
Brendan Fraser is just like the passionate artist, band leader. Like, I just want my songs to be heard.
My girlfriend.
Who plays his hot girlfriend? I always forget. Like he's got a hot girlfriend that's like, oh, why don't you just get a straight job?
Joey Adams.
Ooh, that I don't know if it is, but
because it was always Joey Adams in that era.
Yeah, who was it?
Finding out for me.
Yeah. I went to airheads.com. What the fuck am I doing? That's just a candy site.
Did that not take you to no,
it didn't take me to the movie website. Like Space Jam. If you go to spacejam.com, that's still a website from 1996.
Beautiful. Brendan, once again, you go, Jim.
Yeah.
Find out who the girlfriend was, and then you have to go to brendanfraser.com. And I'm not even joking. Whew.
Amy, I think it's Amy Locane is the girlfriend. I don't know how you pronounce her goddamn name, but she was pretty smoking in that. Yeah, Kayla, right? That's his girlfriend.
Yeah.
Amy Locane. And then there was Susie. Who was Susie? How did I forget about Susie?
She was the one that Adam Sandler has sex with in the studio.
Oh yeah, yeah. She's still very beautiful.
Like I love.
She's still very pretty. Lacking. So is Amy Locane. She's still very pretty as well. She was in.
Brendan Fraser. Yeah.
Let's see. Known for Crybaby. I never saw that. Heard about it. School Ties with Brendan Fraser. Melrose Place. Secretary. I've seen parts of Secretary on the internet. I've never seen the whole movie. I don't really see Airhead. Yeah, no, I don't really see anything else that's popping out here. Legend of the Mummy. What is she just trying to find Brendan Fraser through movies? Like, oh, I heard he's in the Mummy. Yeah, Legend of them. I'll do it. Brendan's there, right? Like, no. Sorry, this isn't the same franchise.
I think he's just getting her work, or she's getting him work. Now, folks, let's all do this together. BrendanFraser.com, FRASER.com. Oh my God. It's like it's up to date.
It's like it would take up your full screen in 1999 if you had a 640 by 480 monitor. It would like fill your page.
Now there's all this dead space here.
But it's all like on the left. Everything's. Oh, and his about page is broken down into acts. Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. He goes to Hollywood at Act 3, guys.
Act 4 is coming soon.
Now, like, in 2001, it comes full circle. What? And then Act 4 is coming soon. It's not there. It's up to date. You're full of shit. This is about Act 3 ends with now in 2001. Brendan comes full circle.
He hasn't done anything since. It is up to date. Come at me.
Opening this fall on London's West End in a stage production of Tennessee Williams' Pulitzer Prize-winning play, Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. I would love it if all of that was fake. If none of that was really happening and this was just a joke site. Curiosities.
Yeah, I've also clicked on Curiosities.
It's here. Welcome to BrendanFraser.com. Greetings. Well, there may be... it's like handwritten.
If you click that key in the envelope to the left
What is this, a Sierra game?
Yeah.
Adobe Flash Player is blocked is what it tells me.
It just crashes your computer.
I probably shouldn't do this while we're recording, but I have to. Allow Flash, which Flash is not even going to work in a month.
Oh, yeah.
Stop. Would you shut up? I'm trying to record a show. Okay, well, I allowed it, and now it just doesn't do anything.
Yeah, it's BrendanFraser.com for you. And
this is great.
If you click the picture just to the left of the envelope, it just I don't even know.
Set Brendan's okay. It's called Brendan's accidental self-portrait. To set Brendan's self-portrait as your desktop, click on one of the screen sizes below. Here are the two screen sizes they give you: 800 by 600 and 1024 by 768. Which,
but see, I don't have Windows 95, 98, or NT, so I don't know.
Mac OS X users, and it has instructions, and then Windows users. It has Windows 95, 98, and NT. It doesn't even have Windows 2000 on there. Oh, good.
Gift.
Oh, dear Lord.
Oh, dear Lord.
Like how was you an interpreter? Oh, dear Lord.
Oh, man.
This dog is giving me the business.
He's not having it.
He's biting me hard now.
Well, because you let him. People treat you how you let them treat you. I try to explain this to folks. Same thing with animals. You gotta whack them. You just gotta whack them, and the animals too.
You can't whack, not the baby. You don't whack the baby.
See, he positive reinforce this negative behavior.
That's fine.
That's
fine. He's
Milan.
my baby. That's fine.
See, I hear how you talk.
I hear,
see. See, oh, good Lord.
I hear, see, I hear. BrendanFraser.com, see.
The people tried the Matthew McConaughey, which was a success. And I remember there was a movement for Brendan Fraser. Like, he seems like a good guy. You never heard a bad thing about him. And I think people, you're like, let's Google what Brendan Fraser's up to. How's he looking? We can't
stop looking.
We can't cast that.
Yeah, maybe he does. Maybe he had some back end deal though, and he's good. You know,
I think he's doing not very well. And that
you're so positive.
That upsets me because he did some good movies. He should be living off Space Jam. He should be living off The Mummy. He should be getting cameo appearances.
He was in Space Jam?
Was he not? No,
Looney Tunes. Same thing. Yeah, I got you. It's the same thing. He should be living off Space Jam. Yeah, he directed Space Jam. You didn't know that?
That'd be something else.
He wrote I Believe I Can Fly.
Like, you know what I want? I want a Mummy and a National Treasure crossover with Nick Cage and Brendan Fraser. And that's it. I want the bad guy to be Nick Cage's mousy little twink friend. Because he's rich now, I want him to be the villain. and that's the movie. And he has to get the Declaration of Independence.
No more Billy Zane?
I mean, you have to. Yeah, you get a villain from each franchise.
Let's see who's doing better, the good guy from The Mummy or the bad guy. BillyZane.com. Not secure. Bluehost.com says oh, shit, Billy Zane. I guess Brendan Fraser won that one. That's not what I expected.
You went for longevity. He says it's not
Did
flashy.
I spell his name wrong? Nope, that's how you spell his name. God damn.
Who needs websites anymore?
I love when you go on Wikipedia for an actor or musician and you see their like pre-famous marriage. Like, oh, Billy Zane was married to Lisa Collins from 89 to 95.
And then he was famous. And
then he was like, see ya. I don't want to give too much away because I probably shouldn't talk about it. But he's not a famous baseball player, but he like sort of finally made it to a major league roster. And this guy that I used to work with was like, this baseball player was dating this guy's daughter. And then he was like, yeah, I'm just struggling. I'm in the minors. I'll get a shot at some point. Oh, I got hurt. And then it's like, hey, you're on a team now. And then he was like, oh yeah, we're not engaged anymore. Bye. Like, damn. He was just you were just the placeholder chick for this big contract money to come in.
Something to do.
Yeah, that was rough.
It's hard out there.
Apparently. I probably shouldn't have said any of that stuff because while nobody who listens that isn't one of those people will be able to figure out who I'm talking about, any of the people involved, if they ever listen, they'll be like, yeah, he's talking about my life. And
I
laughing.
also regret talking about Brendan Fraser because I am a big fan. And if he were to listen to this, me taking a couple pot shots, I feel bad because I have nothing but love and admiration for Mr. Fraser and the work that he's done.
We didn't do anything wrong for Brendan Fraser. We plugged his website.
Yes, we did.
We plugged his website. It's gonna get some he's gonna check his email. He's gonna log into his
Google
Hotmail account. He's gonna log into his prodigy.net email. He's like,
4 hits this
three
year.
new hits this month. What? These two guys from a podcast and someone named Dave. What?
Is Brendan on Insta? Because that's what I like to do. That's my social media of choice because Twitter's the fucking worst. Please be on Instagram, Brendan. He is. I'm happy.
The reason I don't like Instagram...
He's just wearing cowboy hats because his hair's not doing too great these days. And I'm all about it. When my hair finally goes, because it's trying. When it's gone, cowboy hat. Cowboy hat.
I feel like Instagram is always keeping things from me though. Like they're very curaty. They very much determine what's in your feed without your knowledge, you know? So I feel like I miss stuff on Instagram. You know, because I follow like 200 people and I see like the same 8 posts. Like the same 8 people's posts all the time.
Yeah, they curate it for you a little bit.
Yeah, I think they do.
This isn't Brendan Fraser's account. And this other one is just called Brendan Fraser Updates, which I'm definitely going to subscribe to that so I can get the updates that I crave.
So I can get the updates.
2,400 people are the same boat as me. Apparently he went flying. He went on a safari. He was at the airport. I'm all about this shit. Oh, Brendan, come on. I just need him to seriously get a dietitian, lose 25. Quentin Tarantino loves doing this shit. I'm sure he's gonna do a movie soon, and he loves plucking people from obscurity, former stars.
That's a great point.
And like I said, he's been nothing but a great guy from all the stories out there. Rotten luck, injuries, sexual harassment,
almost
Looney
died.
Tunes. You know, just
he had a set of abs on him in George of the Jungle. I never had abs like that. So at least if he really cinches it up and hunkers down, he knows at some point I had a little 6-pack going. I can get there again. Whereas I can't go back to that because I don't have a reference. He has a mental yeah, I remember what it's like to have abs. I could do that again. I could do it.
I did this diet. I did this workout. It's possible. Benny, you're on the wrong side of the river. He's just the best. Just
yeah,
love
you
me some-
do legitimately love this guy, which is fine. Which is fine. I don't have any problems with that. If he wants to come up, Brendan, if you want to come on the show and just keep, update us on what's going on, maybe throw a 1280 by 1024 background on the website. I mean, it's not widescreen, but it's higher res than what's up there. Just slow incremental updates would be fine. Just come on here. We'll talk to you. It'll be fun. We'll have a few laughs. No more table. It'll be great, Brendan. Come on the show. Tell us about Space Jam 2. Can you imagine if he actually came on the show and the whole time we just kept asking him about Space Jam and confused it with Looney Tunes? He wasn't even fucking in the movie. Wow, what an honor. He's actually here. Brendan Fraser did listen. He's on the show, and we're going to ask him about probably his most famous movie, Space Jam. Actually, guys, I was not in space. Maybe you're thinking of, and he's such a nice guy. He'd probably be like, I think you're probably thinking of Looney Tunes. I was in Looney Tunes, the movie. Like, oh, right. So Michael Jordan in real life, is he?
What's he like?
Does he tip well? Because I heard he doesn't.
Did he take it personally? Whew.
If you're listening to this and you are not in your 30s and not from this area of, the Chicagoland area and didn't grow up in the shadow of Michael Jordan like we all did, you don't get how many middle-aged white people were just so quick to jump to like, he doesn't tip though. You know that, right? Like, who gives a shit?
Yeah. Like they had to find a flaw with the black man. They're like, he doesn't tip.
I don't care if he dines and dashes. I don't give a shit. You know what I'm talking about, though, don't you?
Motherfucker cutting grass out here?
No.
Okay, good.
In November.
Right,
But you know exactly what I'm talking about, right?
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. It was just, Thanksgiving dinner. Like, oh, you see MJ's game last night? Yeah, but he doesn't tip.
You got the tip. What they like? Scottie Pippen legit didn't. Like that's the one you want to go after.
Yeah, I took that very personally.
I took that personally.
So I made sure that everyone
fucked up.
No Tippin' Pippin, everyone ran with that name.
Oh, mean.
It's just, God, why don't you just tell me I don't like black people? That's what you really mean to say when you're like, yeah, but do you ever hear Jordan doesn't tip? Tip Larry Bird. He tipped.
Oh.
John Paxson tips. Okay.
Steve Kerr loves to tip. He punched Steve Kerr
for tipping too much. He said, "Why'd you give her a $50 tip for?" Well, that's a good spot to wrap it up. I think.
Do we have any plugs besides the usual?
No, not right now. Go to patreon.com/notlikethis. We got some cool episodes coming up. I think another one that people aren't expecting for Wrestling Rabbit Hole.
Yes.
We just keep pulling the rug out from under them. They think at any point this Bret Hart episode's coming. Then we're going to zigzag on them again.
Well, that one's hard because we have to block out 5 hours, and that's just
an entire week
to do.
It'll be like a Jewish holiday where it's like day one, Bret's early life.
The Calgary days. Okay. Stampede. Okay.
It'll be 7 days of me just reading his biography. But in a bad Morgan Freeman impression. When I was a little boy growing up in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, my father always wanted me to wrestle.
We didn't have shoes. That's always my go-to with the Hearts. I'm like, they just didn't wear shoes.
Yeah, they're all getting hookworm.
God. Facebook.com/notlikeThisPodcast. I'm going to try to post some of the videos that we talked about. Maybe some Brendan videos on there. I'm going to try to find the Gangrel video because that shit was crazy. And that's going to be Facebook.com/notlikeThisPodcast. And hit up that Patreon. as well, because we get some good ones. And Christmas is around the corner, and we kind of have a Christmas movie coming up. This guy's cutting the fucking grass so loud. I'm glad you can't hear it. That's going to do it for this episode. Thank you so much for listening. I'm Brendan Fraser's cowboy hat.
And I'm 800 by 600.